Welcome to this webinar about Azure Fundamentals exam prep. We are talking about the best tips and tricks how to make sure that you are going to succeed with this exam. We will record this session and you will get the link to this recording and the materials I'm showing to you today as an email, hopefully on Monday. And you will also get this practice exam from MeasureUp, but that's going to be something also that we are going to done on next week because there are some technical issues with the MeasureUp web store at the moment. My name is Petri Kettunen and I'm working here in Sovelto as a customer manager, but I'm also working as a learning coach. I'm teaching organization how to get these different kind of skills by self-study and free materials and supporting our other trainers also, mainly with these cloud tech trainings. And I have done during last year 6 different certifications about different cloud techs, and I did all of these by self-study method. So I didn't participate in any training, instructor-led training, just by self-study doing all of this. So this is an example that if you want to learn by doing it yourself, it's possible. And I will share to you all of my tricks, what I have learned during this journey with these issues. I have my colleague Anu also here with us. He's moderating the chat. So if you have any kind of questions during this presentation, please open up your mic and ask, or you can type it in the chat box. Hello, Anu.
Hi, everybody.
So you can interrupt me anytime, but please, in all other times, please keep your mics muted. So it's easier and more convenient to do. You can see also my contact details there. You can always send me email or connect with by LinkedIn. Please do that if you feel so. Okay, let's start with our agenda. First of all, we are going to go through skills measured because that's the most important thing of all in this exam preparation. We will go through all the areas what you have to know and where you have to have this knowledge to succeed in this exam. I will tell you good ways to prepare for the test and or this exam and how to tackle the exam with confidence. I have a pretty good tips for that also. And there's a small summary and the next steps at the end of the end part of this webinar, and also we have some time for questions and answers if you don't want to ask them during this presentation. Okay, let's get started. Skills measured. Skills measured is the short, brief look what you have to really know when you're going to do the exam. The top level, there is 4 different domains that you have to know, and there are the weights of the domains seen as here in this table. This means that the understanding cloud concepts, there will be 15 to 20% questions about that domain. There is also a link to this exam page. I will show it to you because there's a lot of good information about this AZ-900 exam. First of all, what you should note here, that this exam will be updated at the end of the May. So there's going to be a new exam, and if you have already done the studying part for this exam, please, you should schedule the online exam as soon as possible so you can do it straight away. And this page tells you everything you have to know about the exam. But here is one crucial and very important part that I will show to you. The skills measured. like I told you, it will tell you all the stuff you have to know when doing this exam. Here is more detailed outline. If you download the exam skills measured file, there's more details what you have to know. You definitely should go through this when you are preparing for the exam, or if you are starting doing self-studies. This is really good way to measure up what you have to know about this domain and so on. So this is like a Bible when you are studying or preparing for the exam. So this will tell you more detailed level what you have to know about these topics, and you definitely should go through whole this file or document with concentration that okay, now I really can do this. And if you don't want to do this exam before the update, if you scroll down this whole document, there is the changes what are going to be is told here. So the biggest change of this exam will be that instead of understanding something, you have to describe something. So that's the biggest change here. Of course, I don't know for sure what does this mean, but I think this may come much easier, this exam, by changing this from understanding to describing things. But of course, we cannot be sure about that. But this is really helpful document for you to read when preparing for the exam. And this webinar is not about the substance. This is not about how Azure works or what kind of different services there are, but I wanted to have one picture about this high-level Azure services picture, because this will show you how large Azure really is. I have been highlighting those services that you should know, that there will be questions about these services in this exam. But this is the way you can see this is really big service if we are talking about Azure itself. All of these highlighted areas could be own training. It could be 1 to 3 day training if you really want to learn it. So nobody, and I mean nobody, can handle the whole Azure in the expert level. So we are talking about really large cloud service here. And our Azure trainer Mika Seitsonen gave this slide for me, that because this will explain really good what's the difference between single virtual machine or availability sets or availability zones or region pairs. It also gives you an idea how the SLAs are going to change when we are going upwards from the single virtual machine to availability sets and so on. So this is really good slide for that. These are the couple of tricks and tips for the substance. Most of all, we're talking about how to prepare and what tools to use. But this is really good that you should definitely use this one, because there are going to be questions about these issues, and this is a good slide for that to understand it. And one my personal tip for this substance part is that the support plans. This was something really hard for me because I didn't have anything to do with these support plans before. So I just have to go through all of these and learn. There are going to be questions about this. For example, does the technical support include to this basic support plan? Something like that. So this is something you definitely have to know when you're going in this exam. But these are the substance tricks and tips for you. Now we go through all the good tools what I have been found for preparing. First of all, the sources of information. If you have been participating on this instructor-led training, you have had this official digital mock material, which is official material from Microsoft, and it's the mapping to certification is 1-to-1. It means that if you read through the documentation, it will give you the enough knowledge to pass the exam. But this material, you have to pay for it, and there are a lot of good ways to get the same information and knowledge for free. And I have been gathering here the best part of those. Microsoft Learn is a portal which Microsoft is updating all the time. There are a lot of material there, and there are, in general, there are all Microsoft ecosystem training materials there, and it's for free. It's have been up and running about 2 years now, and they started with like 80 hours of content and only 3 learning paths. But at the moment, the situation is much better. I think there are like 600 hours at the moment and 190 learning paths and over 1,000 modules of information there. So this is the first place where you should look up for new info about different services and different things about Microsoft ecosystem, and it's for free. But the challenge there is that if you are preparing for yourself for certification exam, the content is not directly 1-to-1 if you're comparing to the certification skills measured. So that's the reason why you should always have the skills measured document with you when you're studying or preparing yourself, so you know what is the level that I have to study so I can pass the exam. So I have a one good Excel sheet which helps you to keep on track what you are knowing at the moment. I will show it to you later. But the Learn is the place to be when you want to learn something new. Microsoft update this all the time. All the new material comes there first, so you have to definitely go through that place. And if you like to learn by watching videos, of course, YouTube is full of videos about all Microsoft ecosystem issues and services, and exams also. There are a lot of material there. Some of them are good, some of them are not, but I have linked here one 43 minutes long walkthrough video about how to get past this AZ-900 test. It's all about substance. And Tim Warner, who is giving this presentation, is a MVP trainer for Microsoft Technologies and a really good guy and funny guy. Claims that if you watch that video and you understand everything what they're talking about there, you should go through and pass the exam. I'm not sure about that, but if you like to watch videos, definitely you should look that through. It's quite entertaining also. Okay, I told you about this Excel sheet, which helps you to do this self-assessment, how well I do know these topics that they are going to ask in this exam. I will show it to you how it works. So I have been downloading this Excel sheet here, and the idea here is to keep on track how well I know things already. So there are 2 tabs here which you should use. There's this assessment overview, which tells you what is the situation at the moment here in this top level, in these 4 domains. As you can see, it's the same domains as in skills measured listening. So it's everywhere, this skills measured listening. And self-assessment tab, you can see questions directly from the skills measured. Describe the benefits and consideration of using cloud services. And there are the detailed part here. And the idea here is that I go through this line by line and think about how well do I know these things? Do I know them really well? Do I know something about it? Or do I have no idea of this content at all? By doing that, this will keeps track how well do I know these things. So when I go back to this assessment overview tab, I can see my confidence level, what my knowledge is about these domains, and am I ready for this exam? So meaning if you use this Excel sheet, you should definitely have at least 70 to 80% confidence level before you go to the exam. The exam is not about rocket science, but it's not that easy. You have to really know about these things and study. You just can't go there and guess about it. You have to know about these things. But this gives you a good confidence when you have enough percentage here and you can see, okay, now I have 70, 75, 80% here. I can go and do the exam. So really, really useful tool for that. There are also these study guides. Internet is full of different kind of study guides, and there are a couple of them I have attached here as a link. And there's also this excellent FIQ, which I'm going to show you. But first of all, these study guides. I will show it here. Here is one study guide. Sorry, wrong tab. One study guide, and again, the same thing here. We are talking about the skills measured list. There are exactly the same things here as the skills measured document, but this time there are links to materials and resources where I can study more. If I'm using the Excel sheet at the same time and comparing, okay, I know what cloud computing is, I know these overview things, but I don't know about what is elastic computing or cloud elasticity. Okay, I don't remember that. I have a direct link to material where I can study this part. I study it, take a few minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, it's done, then I go forward. I know this, I know this, I know this. And every time I found, okay, this is something that I don't know that well, I go through this materials here, and it helps me to get the knowledge I need. And when I'm using same time this Excel sheet, it keeps track where I'm going, and it's really useful. There's a couple of different kind of study guides, and there is a more detailed study guide, this last one. There is also a more technical PDF about 140 pages. This is good especially for you guys if you don't have the official mock material. This is something that you should definitely go through if you want to know more about the tech side of this Azure Fundamentals. And then there is this excellent FIQ. It goes through not just about the exam and these what you can expect from the exam and what kind of questions there will be, but there is everything around it. How should I prepare? How long does the exams take? How many questions and so on? This is really good basic information in general about these certification exams. So if this is your first exam you're going to take, definitely go through this FIQ. There's a lot of good information and some tips about the questions, what kind of questions there will be. Definitely worth looking at. Okay, and then there is maybe the most powerful tool for preparing this exam is this MeasureUp practice test or practice exam. And like I said, you all will get the voucher by email and there is a guide how to activate this practice test, but it's going to be on next week because of the technical issues in MeasureUp web store at the moment. But I will show you how does it work. Of course, when you're going to activate the practice exam, you have to create a new account here if you don't have it already. And then when you have created the account there, you have to register the key to get the practice test. And then there is this learning locker page, which shows you all the practice tests that you have at the moment. I have a couple of them, different areas, but I will show you this AZ-900 as promised today. And I will start the test here, and it will open up a new window, and there's two different modes here which you can use. There's the certification mode and practice mode. The certification mode is like a real simulation about the real exam. So you cannot change any options there or anything like that. You cannot change the time. It's going to be 60 minutes, and there is going to be something to 35 to 55 questions about this area. And this is really good way to prepare yourself. My suggestion to you is that you do at least one time this certification mode test before you go to the real exam. MeasureUp, there is some kind of promise from them that if you do the certification mode and you succeeded with this one 2 times in a row, you will go past the official exam. But here you have to get 80% correct answers when you are doing this MeasureUp practice exam. In real official exam, you have to get 70% correct. So there's a slight difference. And for my experience, these practice exams are much more harder than the official exam. So if you succeed with this one, there's a good possibility for you to succeed with the official exam also. But I will show you the practice mode here because it's very powerful tool, as I mentioned, for training also and preparing and studying these issues. There are a lot of different options you can change here. As we can see here, there is a 188 different questions about this AZ-900. I can change the amount of the questions I want to answer now, or I want to use custom duration. This is something that I used myself when I was going by bus to our office every day. I used every day for 15 minutes this test. I can use this test with my mobile. It works really well, but you have to remember a couple of things I will show you a little bit later, but it works really good. So I was preparing myself always. I had a little spare time. I used that small moments with this practice exam, and it really helped me. If I go forward here, I have more options, and this is something you have to remember. If you are using this test exam with your mobile, you should definitely check this. Do not include complex question types because it's quite hard to use your mobile if there are these select and place or build, these drag and drop questions that you have to move some items with your finger with your mobile. It's quite hard to do that. It works really good when you're using your laptop or normal computer here, and you can use real mouse. It's easier to do that. And there are a lot of other options also. I will tap these on, and this is good also. Only show questions. I can select the top domains here, as you can see. Again, the same skills measured list here. I know these very well, but the pricing and supporting was something that I don't really know. I want to have questions only about this domain with this test. Okay, that could be a possibility, but I don't use that at the moment. But here is the most important option of all. If I want to study with this practice exam, I select here auto display answers to any response, and I will show it to you what does it mean. I will continue here, and it will give me all kind of information about the test I'm starting about, and there is a guide how to use it, and this also simulates the official exam. There is exactly the same kind of pages before you start the exam. There's some kind of brief definition about the controls about this user face and so on. And when I click the begin test, it starts counting the time as in official exam also. So here's the first question. I don't even read it. I just answer something and I click next one. Now this auto display in any answer, this option is really good for studying because it will show me the correct answer. So this time I didn't answer correctly. The top one was the correct one. But if I scroll down this page, it will give me an explanation why is the first one correct answer and why the other ones are not. So at the same time when I'm reading this, I'm studying these issues and I can see, okay, this was something that I'm not really good about. This is something that I have to study more. And there is direct references and links to documentation below this explanation side. So, okay, the pricing calculator was a problem for me. Maybe I should go through more documentation about it. How does it work? So this way, I can study quite easily with this practice exam. If I see, okay, this was something that I know this, I don't need more studies about this, I just go to the next question. It gives me next question, I answer something, I click next, and again, it will show me the correct answer and also the explanation side and all the links to the documentation. So really good way to study these things. There is I know a couple of guys who are going to do this AZ-900 exam and they are studying only with this practice exam. I don't know, have they already done the exam, but I'm eager about hearing how it goes if they are using only this one. No official mock materials or nothing learning path in Microsoft Learn service. But you will get the voucher for that hopefully on beginning of next week. Okay, how to tackle the test or exam with confidence. There, like I said before, there could be something around from 35 to 55 questions in this exam. So every time you start the exam, it will generate a different amount of questions each time. But about 85% of those questions will be multiple choice questions. So these interactive questions like reorder or rebuild or drag and drop kind of questions, there are not so many of them. And like I said, it's good to remember that in this practice test, in generally all of the questions are quite hard, but in the official exam there could be also those easier questions. So it's good to know that. But you have 60 minutes time to complete the exam. But when you are scheduling the exam, especially when nowadays you have to do it online because most of the test centers are closed at the moment, you should schedule 90 minutes for the exam because there are things that you have to go through with the proctoring guy who is proctoring the whole certification exam time there. You have to read the guides and stuff like that. So it could take 30 minutes. But the test or exam itself, you have maximum 60 minutes time to complete the test. And it's really good to remember that some questions are more than 1 point. So you shouldn't think that, okay, one question, 1 point. No, there could be, we don't know exactly how the points will go about the questions, but in generally you can think that, okay, if there is one question, there is I have to answer 3 different things there, multiple choices, it's more than one. Normally it's only 1 point if there is only one selection to make. And it's really important that you answer all the questions. Even if you don't know what the correct answer is, then you should guess, because there's no penalty for guessing, and it's always there is no penalty also for if you answer wrong. So you have definitely answer all the questions. There is possibility to mark questions for review if you want to consider and think about them more. If you think you have 60 minutes time to complete the exam and there is like 50 something question, you understand there's only 1 minute and something time per one question to answer. So there is not possibility to think through for a long time all of the questions. So you should definitely do the quickies, the easier one. If there is any easier questions, do it fast, go forward. And if there's harder question, you want to take more time, review, mark for review that question. So you can come back later on when you have gone through all the questions. But remember that some questions cannot be skipped, but the user interface will tell you that this is the question that you cannot mark for review. So you have to answer the question straight away. And when we are talking about individual questions, it's really important that you read carefully and try to find the keywords. What is this question about? Is this some service? Okay, this is about this service. I know about something about it. And if if you are not sure what the correct answer is, try to eliminate the obvious away. So you know, okay, this is about this service and this answer has nothing to do with this service. Take it away. That, again, I have a better chance to guess right even if I don't know the correct answer. And like I told you before, it takes 700 points out of the 1000 to get past the exam. It doesn't matter if you have 701 or 1000 points, it's as good because you will get the certification for those points. So only person who will see those points you will get from that exam is you, nobody else. And if you pass the exam, you will get this digital badge from Acclaim that you can share in LinkedIn or other social media. And you should definitely do that to show your network that, hey, I have been studying and succeeding with these issues and I know something about these. And there's some retake policy about if you are failing this exam. If you fail for the first time, you have to schedule a new one. There's 24 hours that you cannot do that, so it have to be 1 day ahead or something. So at the moment, the online exams are so fully booked at the moment, so it's impossible even to try it on the next day. But normally it's 24 hours before you can take the retake when you first fail for the first time. And if you fail for the second time, then there is a 2 weeks retake policy. So that's good to keep in mind. Okay, what are the next steps for your next steps to do for your exam? First of all, schedule the time for the test. Like I told you, there is some full booked days at the moment in online testing because of the situation here. Almost all of the test centers are closed at the moment. And if you have had this voucher for the exam from Microsoft, you will need the information in this email where the voucher is. So find it first before you go to schedule the test from the person site. At the moment, the online is the only option you should use, and here are the direct links how to register for the exam. So here is the person view link where you can do the exam registration. But there are a lot of technical things that you have to know before taking the exam. There are some system requirements and other requirements for the premises where you are doing this exam. So this link goes to the online exams page where you can take the system test. This is crucial that you do this before because there are a lot of possibilities to go wrong here, especially if you have to have this local administration rights to your computer, which you are doing this exam. And if you are using your own organization's laptop, normally you don't have the local admin rights there. So if it's possible, use your own personal laptop or computer at home. It works well with Windows, of course, and Mac computers, but if you are using Linux, no can do. But all the requirements are here, and there are a lot of other information about the test also, what you should know. But this online test is proctored. It means that there is some person other side watching you via the webcam. Before you start the test exam, you have to show via your webcam the room where are you doing the exam. There should be no other persons there or nothing personal belongings on the table or phones or anything like that. And even if there cannot be window. If you have window on your room, it should be covered, or at least you should go with your webcam and show, hey, I'm on the 4th floor. Nobody can't help me behind the window. So this could be an issue for cancel the exam if you can't go through with all these requirements. So read carefully all of this information in this page. There are a lot of good info here. Maybe that's the most important thing about how to and where to register for the online exam. Okay, here is a brief summary for you and your next steps to do. First of all, schedule the exam. We are much better persons if we have some kind of deadline. Deadline for preparation, deadline for studies. You know how it goes. If we schedule this exam in 1 month, I know I have 1 month time to do all the things I have to do to get the knowledge and succeed with this exam. And like I said, there's also there's a lot of users at the moment, so it's impossible to get the exam time for tomorrow. Then you should definitely pick your tool, how to study, recap, or prep for this exam. Use the Excel sheet for your self-assessment so you know where your knowledge is going at the moment. Use the skills measured list so you know, okay, now when I'm using the self-assessment tool, I can see, okay, these are the topics I don't know. Okay, skills measured list. I have to concentrate on these topics. I will focus on these, so I will raise my knowledge to the right level. And pick your favorite learning method and also the favorite tool to do this. There was these study guides, and you may have this official mock material, or you can use these different free platforms where you can get the info. And remember, you can study with the MeasureUp practice exam also. It's a very powerful tool for practicing these things. Then definitely, at least one time, do the practice exam with this certification mode. It takes 60 minutes, but it will show you how good do you know, how well does you know these things. If you get 80%, it's really good. you have good confidence, go to the official, but do it at least one time. If you need more practice with this exam. You get more familiar with what kind of question types there are and what kind of questions there could be. So it gives you confidence also. Do as much as you want. When you are activating the voucher we will be sending you, you can use the practice exam after activation for 180 days. So you can do it all over again, all the time for half a year. When you are ready, you have settled the exam, you will go to the official exam and you will do it. And I'm sure if you use some time to use these tools and hit tips and tricks which I'm giving to you, you will succeed, definitely. After you have succeeded with the exam, you should publish the certification badge and definitely do some celebration, because this is not like I said, this is not rocket science, but this is not an easy. You have to know about these things and you have to study to get through and pass this exam. But this is the brief summary what to do. And we have a good amount of time here for questions, and maybe we first start with the questions which have come through the chat. Or is there any questions, Anu, from the chat?
No, there are no questions or comments at the moment.
Okay.
Only very nicely explained. One comment.
That's good. But hey, now you can open up your microphone and ask the questions you want to ask. You can also see my contact information here, so please, you can always contact me and ask by email or connecting via LinkedIn. But now, open up the mics.
Okay, I open because now there came a couple of questions. First one, is the practice exam possible to take only one time, or can we take it multiple times?
Yeah. Like I told you, it's valid for 180 days. You can do it as many times as you want during that time period. So you should definitely do that more than once.
And then another good question, is it possible to finish the test before 60 minutes, the actual exam, not the practice?
Yeah, definitely. You don't have to use any more time than needed. So it took, for me, I took it like 35 minutes or so. So the 60 minutes is enough time to do that if you have prepared properly. It's going to be enough, but you don't have to wait for a whole hour. Was there any more questions in chat?
No.
Okay, feel free to open up your mic and ask directly. Okay, if there are no questions, a small summary again about the next week. So we hopefully on Monday you will get an email from Sovelto. There will be link to this presentation and also for this recording about this session. And then there will be another email from MeasureUp, which where is this activation key or voucher for the AZ-900 practice exam. And that's it. If you have questions later on, please contact me. I try to help you as much as I can. And that's it. Have a nice weekend and hopefully really nice springtime